The church door slammed open. Sarah May Thornton's head snapped up from prayer straight into the eyes of a man who looked like he'd ridden out of hell itself. 6'4" of dust and danger, jaw hard as the desert stone, hands scarred from violence or labor or both. Her father's voice cracked like a whip. "Get out!" But the stranger didn't move. He stared at the preacher's virgin daughter kneeling in her white cotton dress, and something in the air between them caught fire. Hit that subscribe button right now, stay until the very end of this story, and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far Sarah May's journey travels across this world. Sarah May's knees burned against the church floor. "Again!" Her father's voice rolled down from the pulpit like distant thunder. "Honor thy father and mother." The words scraped out of her throat, raw from repetition. Louder. "Honor thy—" The door exploded inward. Sunlight poured through the opening like judgment itself. Sarah May's breath stopped. She'd been taught never to look up during prayer. Never to let her eyes stray toward temptation. Never to acknowledge anything that might corrupt her immortal soul. Her head turned anyway. The man had to duck under the doorframe. Dust covered every inch of him, his boots, his denim, the brim of his hat pulled low over his face. When he straightened and removed the hat, she saw dark hair touching his collar, sun-damaged skin, a jaw that looked like it had been carved with a dull knife. Then he looked at her. His eyes were the color of whiskey held up to firelight. They locked onto hers across 20 feet of empty pews, and Sarah May forgot her father existed. "We're closed." Reverend Josiah Thornton's boots hit the floor hard as he descended from the pulpit. The stranger's gaze didn't leave Sarah May. Door was open. "I don't care if it was swinging in the wind. Get out." Horse threw a shoe 2 miles back. His voice was rough, like he didn't use it much. "Saw your steeple. Stable's 2 streets down. Now leave." The stranger finally looked at her father. Something dangerous flickered across his face, quick as lightning, gone just as fast. "Yes, sir." He settled his hat back on and turned to go. At the threshold, he glanced back one more time. Sarah May's fingers dug into her clasped hands, hard enough to hurt. The door closed. The church fell back into suffocating silence. "Your room, now!" She stood on shaking legs. Her father watched her cross toward the side door like she was a criminal walking to sentencing. In her tiny bedroom behind the church, Sarah May pressed her ear against the wall. No voices, no footsteps, just her heart hammering so loud she thought God himself could hear it. She moved to her window. The stranger led his limping horse down Main Street toward the stable. He walked like a man who'd spent more years alone than with people shoulders back, head up, comfortable in his own skin in a way Sarah May had never been in hers. When he disappeared around the corner, she realized she'd been holding her breath. That night her father spoke 4 words during dinner. "I saw you looking." Sarah May's fork froze halfway to her mouth. "Do you know what happens to girls who let their eyes wander?" He didn't wait for an answer. They fall. They ruin themselves. They bring damnation to everyone who loves them. He leaned across the table. "Is that what you want, to be damned?" "No, Father." "Then you'll stay away from that window. You'll stay in this house unless I say otherwise. And you'll pray for forgiveness." His fist hit the table. "All night if that's what it takes." Sarah May's throat closed. 22 years of trying to be good enough, pure enough, perfect enough, and it was never enough. Would never be enough. "May I be excused?" He waved her away like she was smoke. In her room, she sank onto her bed and stared at the ceiling. Somewhere out there, the stranger was bedding down for the night. Probably didn't have anyone telling him who to look at, who to fear, how to suffocate himself into something acceptable. She hated that she envied a complete stranger. Hated more that she couldn't stop seeing his eyes. Morning came with shouting. Sarah May jerked awake, her heart already racing. She threw on her dress, fingers clumsy on the buttons, and cracked open her door. "No right to be here. Came to thank you for yesterday. The stranger's voice calm as Sunday morning. "And apologize if I offended." Sarah May opened her door wider. He stood in the center aisle, hat in his hands, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Her father blocked the pulpit like he was defending the Holy of Holies. "I don't want your thanks. I want you gone. I'll be gone soon as my horse is ready. Another day, maybe two. Not good enough. I want you out of Redemption Creek entirely." The stranger's jaw tightened. "This your town. Reverend, you own it. I protect it. From men like you. You don't know anything about me. I know you looked at my daughter like she was yours for the taking." Her father's voice dropped to something poisonous. "I know your kind thinks every innocent girl is fair game. And I know if I catch you near her again, they'll be carrying you out of here in pieces." Sarah May's hand flew to her mouth. The stranger was quiet for 3 long heartbeats. "That a threat? It's a promise." "Funny." He turned his hat slowly in his scarred hands. "Didn't know men of God made promises like that." "Get out of my church before I throw you out." Already leaving. He moved toward the door, then stopped. "But you should ask yourself something first." "What?" "If your daughter's faith is so fragile, one look from a stranger can break it. Maybe the problem isn't me." The collection box hit the wall and exploded. Coins scattered across the floor like shrapnel. Sarah May threw her door open and ran into the sanctuary. Her father had the stranger by the collar, shoving him backward. The stranger's hands were up, not fighting, just keeping balance. "Father, stop!" Both men turned. Her father's face was purple. The stranger's expression was unreadable except for his eyes, those whiskey eyes that softened when they found her. "Get back in your room. You're hurting him." "I said, get back." "She's right, Reverend." The stranger's voice stayed gentle. "You are hurting me. Don't think that's what Jesus would do." Her father shoved him hard. The stranger stumbled, but didn't fall. "Jesus cast out demons," her father snarled. "That's what you are. A demon sent to tempt my daughter away from righteousness." "I'm just a man." The stranger straightened his shirt. "A tired man who made a mistake coming here. I'm not trying to tempt anyone." "Then why are you still in my church?" The stranger looked at Sarah May again. This time, she couldn't look away. There was something in his gaze that felt like permission. Permission to exist, to breathe, to be human. "Don't rightly know," he said quietly. "But I'll figure it out." He walked past her father, past Sarah May. At the door he paused. "Name's Cole, by the way. Cole Maverick. Seemed wrong not to introduce myself properly." Then he was gone. Her father's hand closed around her arm like an iron shackle. "Praying. Now. Until your knees bleed, if that's what it takes to drive this wickedness out of you." "I didn't do anything wrong." The words came out before her brain caught up with her mouth. Her father's eyes went wide, then narrow. "What did you say?" That tiny spark of courage flickered and nearly died. But something, some part of her she'd never known existed, kept her spine straight. "I said I didn't do anything wrong. He just asked directions. You're the one who—" The slap cracked across her face like a rifle shot. Pain exploded from her cheekbone to her temple. Her vision went white, then red, then slowly cleared. "You will not speak to me that way." Her father's voice was cold now, controlled, somehow worse than the shouting. "Get in your room. Pray until God forgives you, and thank him I'm merciful enough not to beat it out of you properly." Sarah May's cheek burned. Her eyes burned worse. But she walked to her room without another word. The lock clicked from the outside. She sat on her bed and touched her face. It would bruise. She'd have to explain it somehow. Clumsy Sarah May walking into a door again. Stumbling Sarah May, so awkward and foolish. The lies were ready. They always were. Through her window she could see the stable. Could see Cole Maverick leading his horse into the sun, checking its newly repaired shoes. As if he felt her watching, he looked up. Their eyes met across the distance. He didn't smile, didn't wave, just held her gaze for 3 seconds that felt like 3 hours. Then he walked to her window. Sarah May's heart stopped. He stood outside looking up at her with an expression she couldn't name. He reached into his saddlebag, pulled out something small and set it on her windowsill, the only part that opened. "What's your name?" she called through the glass. Cole Maverick." "I'm Sarah May." "I know. Heard your father say it." Something almost like a smile touched his mouth. "Prettiest name I ever heard." Heat flooded her face. "You shouldn't be here. If he sees, let him." Cole's jaw went hard. Man's got no right locking his daughter up like a prisoner. "He's protecting me." "From what living—" He shook his head. "That's not protection, Sarah May. That's a cage." She wanted to argue, wanted to defend her father, her life, everything she'd been taught. But the words died in her throat because somewhere deep down in a place she'd never dared look, she knew he was right. "What did you leave?" "Something my mother gave me before she passed. Told me to give it to someone who needed it more than I did." He tipped his hat. "Reckon that's you." "I can't." "Already did. I'll be at the boarding house 2 more days. You need anything at all, you know where to find me." "I won't need anything." Cole studied her bruised face for a long moment. "Hope you're wrong about that, Sarah May. I really do." He swung into his saddle and rode away. Sarah May reached through the window crack and grabbed what he'd left. A small silver compass worn smooth from years of handling. On the back, words were engraved, "Not all who wander are lost." She closed her fist around it. Something inside her chest cracked open some locked door she hadn't known existed. That night she didn't pray. She lay in bed holding the compass, turning it over and over, imagining what it would be like to wander, to choose her own direction, to be lost and not care. The next morning, her father unlocked her door. "Town meeting today. You'll sit in front and show this community what an obedient daughter looks like." "Yes, father." "If that drifter shows his face, you will not look at him. Understood?" "Yes, father." But as she dressed, buttoning her collar to her throat, pinning her hair until it pulled, she slipped the compass deep into her pocket where it rested against her hip like a secret heartbeat. The church filled fast. 300 souls packed into pews that groaned under the weight. Sarah May sat in front, hands folded, eyes down. Around her, the whispers started. "Heard there's trouble. Stranger in town. Reverend's been in a state for days." Poor Sarah May. Must be difficult having such a burden to bear. She touched the compass through her pocket, traced its smooth edges while her father mounted the pulpit and raised his arms. "Brothers and sisters, we have a cancer among us." The door opened. Cole Maverick walked in. Every head swiveled. Her father went silent mid-sentence, his face darkening like a coming storm. Cole removed his hat, took a seat in the back row, stretched his long legs out like he had every right to be there. "You." Her father's voice shook. "Get out. It's a church." Cole's voice carried clear and calm through the hostile silence. "Thought churches were for sinners. Not for men who corrupt innocent girls. Haven't corrupted anyone, but I'm curious what makes you think I would." The congregation stirred. Sarah May felt their eyes crawling over her, judging, condemning, finding her guilty. "Your very presence is corruption," her father spat. "You're a drifter, no ties, no responsibility, no faith." "You don't know anything about my faith." Her father descended from the pulpit like an avenging angel. "I know you don't belong in this town." Cole stood slowly. "You're right. I don't belong here." He walked down the center aisle, his boots loud in the terrible silence. "But neither does she." He pointed straight at Sarah May. The congregation gasped. Her father's face went white, then crimson. "How dare you?" "Look at her." Cole's voice rose. "Really look. She's terrified. Not of me, of you." "That's a lie." Is it? Cole stopped at her pew. Ask her. Go ahead. Ask if she's happy. 300 pairs of eyes turned to Sarah May. Her throat closed. Her father's gaze burned into her like brands held against skin. Sarah May. Her father's voice went soft, dangerous. Tell this man you're happy. Tell him you're blessed to be my daughter and want for nothing. Her mouth opened. The lie sat on her tongue, familiar as her own name. She'd told it 1,000 times. This time it wouldn't come out. Her voice cracked. Tell him, her father demanded. Cole knelt beside her pew. His eyes were level with hers, now gentle as his voice. You don't have to lie anymore. Don't you dare speak to her. Why? Cole kept his eyes on Sarah May, afraid she might tell the truth. Sarah May's hands trembled. The compass burned against her hip. Father, one chance. Her father's voice cut like a blade. One chance to reject this man's poison. One chance to prove your loyalty to me and to God. Loyalty shouldn't require proof, Cole said. I said silence. No. The word hung in the air like a gunshot echo. Her father moved fast, grabbed Cole's shirt. What did you say? I said no. Cole didn't fight back. I won't be silent while you terrorize your own daughter. Won't watch you twist faith into fear. He took a step closer. And I damn sure won't let you call this love. Sarah May stood. Her legs shook so badly she thought they'd give out, but she stood. Father, please stop. Sit. Down. No. The word came out of her soft, trembling, but unmistakable. The church went silent as a tomb. Her father released Cole, turned to her slowly. What did you say to me? I said no. Tears streamed down her face, but her voice steadied. I don't want to fight you. I just want to choose. Choose what? Everything. The words rushed out now. What I believe. Who I talk to. Whether I stay locked in my room or step outside. I want to choose, Father. Just once. I want to choose. You are my daughter. You do as I'm 22 years old. When do I get to be a person? Her father's hand rose. Cole caught his wrist mid-swing. Don't. Get your hands off me. Hit her again and you'll regret it. The two men stood locked together, violence trembling between them like heat lightning. The congregation watched in horrified, hungry silence. Then Sarah May did something she'd never done in her entire life. She walked out, past her father, past Cole, past the rows of shocked, scandalized faces, out the door into blinding sunlight that hit her like a physical blow. Behind her, chaos erupted, her father's roar, Cole's voice, the congregation exploding into shouts. Sarah May kept walking down Main Street. She didn't know where she was going, didn't care, just knew she couldn't stop. Sarah May, Cole's voice. She turned. He was running toward her, covering the distance in long strides. Wait, he said when he reached her. I can't go back. I know. He'll never forgive me. I know that too. Cole's expression was serious. But I need to ask you something. Need you to be completely honest. What? Do you want to leave? Really leave? He searched her face. Because if you do, I'll help. I'll take you anywhere. But if there's any part of you that wants to stay and try to fix this, I'll walk away right now and you'll never see me again. Sarah May pulled out the compass, stared at the engraving. Not all who wander are lost. I don't know where to go, she whispered. I've never been anywhere but here. That's okay. Cole smiled, a real smile that transformed his scarred face. We'll figure it out. If you'll have me. You don't even know me. I know enough. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull back. When she didn't, he touched her bruised cheek with impossible gentleness. Know you're brave. Know you're stronger than anyone ever told you. And I know you deserve better than a cage. Sarah May closed her eyes. felt the sun on her face, Cole's hand on her skin, the compass heavy in her palm. Okay. Okay. She opened her eyes. Take me with you. Cole's smile widened. Yes, ma'am. Sarah May Thornton. Her father burst from the church, the congregation flooding out behind him like an angry river. You come back here this instant. Cole's hand found hers. Ready. Sarah May looked at their joined hands. At the open road stretching toward the horizon. At the future she'd never let herself imagine. Yes, she said. I'm ready. They walked together down Main Street, while her father's curses followed them like thrown stones. The town watched. Some faces were angry, some scandalized. A few, just a few, looked almost envious. At the hitching post, Cole's horse waited. He gathered the reins and looked at Sarah May. Ever ridden. Only side saddle, when I was little. This'll be different. He swung into the saddle, then reached down. Trust me. Sarah May took his hand, let him pull her up behind him, wrapped her arms around his waist, and felt his warmth, his strength, his steadiness. Where are we going? Away. Cole kicked the horse into a walk. That enough. Sarah May looked back one last time. Her father stood in the middle of the street, fists clenched, face purple with rage. The church steeple rose behind him like a headstone. She looked forward, at the desert spreading gold and endless before them, at the mountains blue in the distance, at everything she'd never been allowed to see. It's perfect, she said. Cole urged the horse faster. Redemption Creek began to shrink behind them. Wind pulled at Sarah May's hair, loosening her severe bun. The sun beat down merciless and clean. Her arms ached from holding on. She had never felt more alive. The compass pressed against her hip with every stride, a small weight promising that being lost was just another word for being free. The horse's rhythm became Sarah May's entire world, forward, 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 each stride taking her farther from everything she'd ever known. Cole's back was solid against her chest, his breathing steady, while hers came in short gasps that had nothing to do with the ride. You all right back there? His voice carried over the wind. I don't know. That's honest. I appreciate honest. They rode for an hour before Cole slowed the horse to a walk. Sarah May's arms had gone numb from holding on her legs, screaming from the unfamiliar position. When she tried to shift her weight, pain shot through her thighs. We'll stop soon, Cole said. Let you stretch. Get some water. Where are we going? Copper Falls. About 3 days' ride northeast. Got a friend there who won't ask questions. 3 days. Sarah May had never been away from home for 3 days in her life. Never been away from her father's watchful eyes for 3 hours unless she was locked in her room. What if he comes after us? He will. Cole's voice was matter-of-fact. Question is whether he'll come alone or bring the law. The law? Sarah May's stomach dropped. Can he do that? You're of age, so no, but that won't stop him from trying. Men like your father don't let go easy. He'll say you kidnapped me. Did I? No. The word came out fierce. I chose this. I chose you. Cole was quiet for a moment. Then, haven't heard you say my name yet. What? My name. You keep saying you, like you're not sure what to call me. Sarah May felt heat crawl up her neck. Cole. That's better. She could hear the smile in his voice. Say it again. Cole. It felt strange in her mouth, familiar and foreign at once. Cole Maverick. There you go. Now we're properly introduced. They rode until the sun began its descent toward the horizon, painting the desert in shades of orange and red that hurt to look at. Cole finally reined the horse to a stop beside a cluster of rocks that offered some shade. We'll camp here tonight. He dismounted, then reached up for Sarah May. She tried to swing her leg over like he had. Her body refused to cooperate. Pain lanced through her hips and she gasped. Easy. Cole's hands closed around her waist. First time's always rough. He lifted her down like she weighed nothing. When her feet touched the ground, her legs buckled. Cole caught her before she fell. I got you. I can't feel my legs. You will. Give it a minute. He kept one arm around her waist while she found her balance. There. See? Still works. Sarah May took a tentative step, then another. Her muscles screamed protest, but slowly, gradually began to remember they were supposed to function. Walk around a bit, Cole said. Get the blood moving. I'll get camp set up. She watched him work efficiently, economically, like a man who'd done this 1,000 times. He unsaddled the horse, rubbed it down with a cloth from his pack, let it drink from his hat, filled with water from his canteen. Then he gathered dead brush and built a small fire ring with rocks. You know how to start a fire? He asked. With matches. What if you don't have matches? Sarah May shook her head. Come here. I'll teach you. She knelt beside him, suddenly aware of how close they were. Close enough to smell horse and leather and something else, something male, that made her stomach flutter. Cole pulled out a piece of flint and steel. Watch. You strike the steel against the flint at an angle, aiming the sparks at the tinder. He demonstrated. Sparks flew. One caught in the dried grass he'd placed in the center. He bent close and blew gently until a small flame appeared. Your turn tomorrow, he said, feeding larger sticks into the growing fire. Tomorrow. The word felt impossible. There would be a tomorrow, and a day after that, and days stretching ahead without her father's voice telling her she was sinful, shameful, worthless. You hungry? Sarah May realized she was starving. Yes. Cole dug in his pack and produced jerky hardtack and a small pouch of dried fruit. Not much, but it'll keep us alive until we reach the next town. They ate in silence while the sun finished dying and stars began to emerge. Sarah May had never seen so many stars. At home, her father made her stay inside after dark. Said nothing good happened to girls who wandered at night. You're staring, Cole said. I've never seen the stars like this. Like what? All of them. She gestured at the sky. At home, I only saw them through my window. Small pieces. This is... Words failed her. Big, terrifying. She met his eyes across the fire. Everything is terrifying. You want to go back? No. The answer came instantly. I don't know how to do this. Any of this. I don't know how to survive out here. That's why I'm here. Cole poked at the fire with a stick. You'll learn, faster than you think. What if I can't? Then I'll teach you slower. He looked at her, his face half shadowed by firelight. You took the hardest step already, walking out that church door. Everything else is just details. Sarah May pulled the compass from her pocket, turned it over in her hands. Why did you give me this? Told you, my mother. No. She cut him off. Why me? You didn't know me. Didn't know if I'd ever use it. Cole was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Finally. Saw something in your eyes that first day. Something caged. He fed another stick to the fire. My mother was caged too. Different kind of cage, but still. When she died, she made me promise I'd never let myself get trapped like she was, and if I ever met someone else who was trapped. He shrugged. Guess I met someone. What kind of cage was she in? The marriage kind. His voice went flat. My father was a cruel man. Drank too much, hit too much, prayed too much. Told her everything she did was a sin requiring punishment. He looked up at Sarah May. Sound familiar? Her throat tightened. Yes. She died when I was 15. Doctor said pneumonia. I say she just gave up fighting. He tossed the stick into the flames. Found this compass in her things afterward, along with a note saying, Don't let anyone cage you, baby boy. Not all who wander are lost. I'm sorry. Don't be. She's free now. He met her eyes. Just like you're going to be. The fire crackled between them. Somewhere in the darkness, a coyote howled. Where will you sleep? Sarah May asked. Other side of the fire. And me. This side. I'll give you my bedroll. What will you use? Saddle blanket. Done it plenty of times. That doesn't seem fair. Fair's got nothing to do with it. You're not used to sleeping rough. I am. He stood and pulled a worn blanket from his pack. Here, wrap up. Dessert gets cold at night. Sarah May took the blanket. It smelled like him, leather and smoke, and something indefinable that made her feel safe and nervous at the same time. Cole. Yeah. Thank you. Haven't done anything worth thanking yet. You gave me a choice. No one's ever done that before. His expression softened. Get some sleep, Sarah May. Long day tomorrow. She lay down close to the fire, wrapping herself in his blanket. Across the flames, Cole settled against his saddle hat, pulled low over his eyes. Within minutes, his breathing deepened into sleep. Sarah May stared at the stars and wondered if her father was looking at the same sky. Wondered if he was praying for her damnation or her return. Wondered if there was any difference in his mind. She touched the compass one more time, then closed her eyes. Sleep came easier than she expected. Morning arrived with Cole's hand on her shoulder. Time to move. Sarah May sat up disoriented. The fire was dead, the sun barely above the horizon. Cole had already saddled the horse and packed their meager camp. How long have you been awake? Hour or so. Wanted to let you rest. He handed her a piece of jerky. Eat fast. We need to cover ground. Are we being followed? Not yet, but we will be. He helped her onto the horse, then swung up behind her this time. You're riding in front today. Need you to learn. Learn what? His arms came around her hands, taking the reins. How to control a horse. Can't have you helpless if something happens to me. Nothing's going to happen to you. Probably not. But probably's not good enough. His chest pressed against her back. See how I'm holding the reins. Not too tight, not too loose. Horse can feel everything you're feeling. You're nervous, he's nervous. You're calm, he's calm. Sarah May tried to focus on his words instead of how aware she was of every point where their bodies touched. Okay. Put your hands over mine. She did. His hands were warm, calloused, steady. Now feel how I'm guiding him. Little pressure here to turn left, here for right. Pull back gently to slow kick to go faster. He demonstrated each movement. Your turn. He let go of the reins. Sarah May's hands tightened in panic. Easy, Cole murmured against her ear. I'm right here. Won't let anything happen. She took a breath and tried to remember what he'd shown her. Little pressure left the horse turned. Little pressure right, he turned back. There you go, Cole said. Natural. They rode like that for an hour, Cole's hands hovering near hers, but not touching, his voice calm and patient as he corrected her mistakes. By the time the sun was fully up, Sarah May could manage basic steering without wanting to cry. Good, Cole said, taking the reins back. Tomorrow, you'll do more. They stopped briefly at noon to water the horse and eat. Sarah May's body ached in places she didn't know could ache. Her inner thighs were raw, her back stiff. Her hands blistered from gripping the reins. Cole noticed her wince. Gets easier. When? Week or so. A week. Sarah May wanted to cry. I'll be dead in a week. No, you won't. You're tougher than you think. He handed her his canteen. Drink. Stay hydrated out here, or you'll be in real trouble. The water was warm and tasted like metal, but Sarah May had never been so grateful for anything in her life. Cole? What happens when we get to Copper Falls? We rest, get supplies, figure out next steps. And then, He looked at her. What do you want? The question shocked her. I don't know, one's ever asked me that before. I'm asking now. Sarah May thought about it. Really thought. I want to see things. Mountains, ocean, cities. Everything I've only read about in books. Then that's what we'll do. Just like that. Just like that. He smiled. I'm a drifter, remember. Got no place I need to be. Might as well drift somewhere you want to go. But your friend in Copper Falls is just a friend, not a boss, not family, just someone who'll let us catch our breath. He stood and offered his hand. Come on, few more hours before we camp. They rode until sunset painted the sky in colors that made Sarah May's chest ache. Cole found another sheltered spot this time near a dry creek bed that still held a few puddles of water. We're lucky, he said. Another week and these would be bone dry. Sarah May watched him set up camp with the same efficient movements. This time, when he started to build the fire, she knelt beside him. Teach me. He handed her the flint and steel. Show me what you remember. She struck them together clumsily. No spark. Tried again. Nothing. Angle's wrong. Here. His hand covered hers, adjusting her grip. Like this. See? This time, sparks flew. One landed in the tinder. Sarah May bent close like he had and blew gently. The spark died. Try again. Gentler. It took 6 attempts before she got a flame to catch. When it finally did, she laughed a sound so foreign she barely recognized it as her own. There, Cole said. You just started your first fire. I did, didn't I? She felt ridiculously proud. They ate their meager dinner and settled on opposite sides of the fire again. This time Sarah May couldn't sleep. Her mind raced with questions, fears, possibilities. Cole, she said into the darkness. Yeah. Are you awake? Obviously. Can I ask you something? Always. Why did you really come to Redemption Creek? Silence. Then, was looking for work. Heard they needed ranch hands in the area. That's all? That's all. So you weren't... She stopped. Never mind. Wasn't what? Running from something. More silence. Then a soft laugh. Everyone's running from something, Sarah May. Question is whether you're running towards something better or just running. Which one are you doing? Don't know yet. Ask me in a few years. Sarah May rolled onto her side facing the fire. I'm scared. I know. What if I can't do this? What if I'm not strong enough? Then you learn to be stronger. That's how it works. His voice was gentle. Strength's not something you're born with. It's something you build, one choice at a time. And if I fail, then you fail. But at least you'll fail free, instead of succeeding in a cage. The words settled over her like a blanket. Sarah May closed her eyes and let exhaustion finally pull her under. The third day started like the previous 2, early, aching, relentless. But something had shifted. Sarah May's body hurt less. Her hands felt more confident on the reins. She could read the horse's movements, anticipate his reactions. You're getting it, Cole said from behind her. I am, aren't I? Told you. Tougher than you think. They rode through increasingly green terrain as they left the desert behind. Trees appeared, real trees, not the stunted scrub Sarah May was used to. The air smelled different, felt different. How much farther? She asked. See those mountains? Cole pointed ahead. Copper Falls is in the foothills. We'll be there by sunset. Sarah May's stomach churned with nerves. What if your friend, Marcus, his name's Marcus. What if Marcus doesn't want to help? He will. How do you know? Because I helped him once when he needed it. Marcus is good people. He'll come through. They rode in comfortable silence for another hour. Then Cole stiffened behind her. What's wrong? Don't know yet. Maybe nothing. He took the reins from her hands. But there's dust behind us. Someone's coming fast. Sarah May's heart jumped into her throat. My father. Could be, or could be anyone. He urged the horse faster. Either way, we don't want to find out. They broke into a gallop, Sarah May clinging to the saddle horn as the landscape blurred around them. The horse's hooves thundered against the packed earth. Behind them, the dust cloud grew closer. How many? Sarah May called over the wind. Can't tell. At least 2, maybe 3. What do we do? Ride like hell and pray we reach town first. They crested a hill, and Sarah May saw at Copper Falls, small and dusty, but undeniably real, maybe 2 miles ahead. Almost there, Cole said. Hold on. The horse was tiring foam forming at his mouth. They'd pushed him too hard for too long. He stumbled once recovered, but his pace was slowing. The riders behind them were gaining. Cole, I know, just hold on. They thundered into Copper Falls Main Street, scattering chickens and drawing shouts from startled townsfolk. Cole reined the horse to a stop in front of a saloon, leaped down, and pulled Sarah May after him. Inside, now. He dragged her through the saloon doors, just as 3 riders skidded to a stop in the street outside. Sarah May's legs gave out. Cole caught her half carrying her to a corner table, where a massive man with a scarred face sat nursing a whiskey. Marcus, Cole said. I need a favor. Marcus looked at Cole, then at Sarah May. Then at the 3 men dismounting outside. They with you? Hell no. They're the problem. Marcus drained his whiskey and stood. He was even bigger standing up, 6'6", at least, built like a bull. Then they're my problem now. He cracked his knuckles. You 2 stay here. The saloon doors burst open. Sarah May's father strode through them, flanked by 2 men she recognized, Sheriff Tucker and Deputy Morrison from Redemption Creek. Her father's eyes locked onto her. Sarah May, come here. Now. She pressed back against Cole. No. I said come here. The lady said no. Marcus stepped between them. Think that's clear enough even for you? Get out of my way. That's my daughter. She's a grown woman who made a choice. You need to respect that. Her father's face went purple. Sheriff, arrest that man. He kidnapped my daughter. Sheriff Tucker stepped forward reluctantly. Miss Sarah May, did this man force you to leave Redemption Creek? All eyes turned to her. Cole's hand found hers under the table, squeezed once. Sarah May stood on shaking legs, looked her father in the eye. No, I chose to leave. He didn't force me. She's lying, her father roared. He's corrupted her mind. She doesn't know what she's saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. Sarah May's voice grew stronger. I left because I wanted to. Because I couldn't breathe in your house anymore. Because being your daughter felt like dying slowly. Her father's hand flew up. Marcus caught his wrist. Not this time. Let go of me. Make me. The Reverend tried to pull free. Marcus didn't budge. Finally, Sheriff Tucker intervened. Reverend, enough. She's of age. She can leave if she wants. This is an outrage. She's my daughter. She's an adult. Law says she can choose. Her father turned his fury on Sarah May. If you leave with him, you're no daughter of mine. You'll be dead to me. Damned for eternity. The words should have broken her. A week ago they would have. But standing in that saloon with Cole beside her and freedom ahead of her, Sarah May felt something shift inside her chest. Then I'll be damned, she said quietly. If being myself means damnation, I'll take it over being yours. Her father's face crumpled. For 1 second, just one, he looked old and broken and almost human. Then the mask slammed back down. So be it. He turned to Sheriff Tucker. Let's go. She's made her choice. Let her live with the consequences. He walked out without looking back. The sheriff and deputy followed, leaving uncomfortable silence in their wake. Marcus released a long breath. Well, that was dramatic. Sarah May's legs finally gave out for real. Cole caught her, easing her into a chair. You okay? I don't know. She looked up at him. Did that really just happen? It did. I told my father. You told him the truth. That took more courage than running ever did. Marcus cleared his throat. So, you two want to tell me what the hell is going on? Cole filled him in quickly. Marcus listened without interrupting, his expression growing darker. Locked her in her room, he said when Cole finished. Hid her. He looked at Sarah May. You've got a place to stay as long as you need it. No questions asked. Thank you, Sarah May whispered. Don't thank me. Just... He shook his head. Just be safe. And Cole, yeah, you heard her. I'll break every bone in your body. Cole smiled. Fair enough. Marcus stood. Come on. I'll show you where you can clean up. Get some real food in you. Then we'll figure out what comes next. As they followed him out the back of the saloon, Sarah May caught Cole's sleeve. Cole? Yeah. I meant what I said. About choosing. His hand found hers. I know you did. I'm scared I won't be strong enough for what comes next. You walked out of that church, Cole said softly. You stood up to your father. You just chose yourself over everything you've ever known. He squeezed her hand. You're already strong enough. You just don't know it yet. Sarah May looked at their joined hands, at the door leading out of the saloon toward whatever came next, at the compass still heavy in her pocket, pointing toward a future she couldn't see, but was finally free to choose. Okay, she said. Let's find out. Marcus's place turned out to be 3 rooms above the saloon, sparse but clean, with a real bed and a wash basin that made Sarah May want to cry with gratitude. He left them alone after showing them up, saying something about getting food sent up. Sarah May stood in the middle of the room, suddenly aware she was alone with Cole for the first time since they'd left Redemption Creek. Really alone. No campfire between them, no open sky, just 4 walls and a bed, and the weight of everything that had happened. You can have the bed, Cole said, dropping his pack in the corner. I'll take the floor. That's not you don't have to. Yes, I do. He looked at her steadily. You've been through enough without worrying about my intentions. I'm not that kind of man, Sarah May. I didn't think you were. Good. But I'm telling you anyway, so there's no confusion. He moved to the window, checked the street below. We'll stay here a few days. Let you rest. Let things cool down. Then we'll figure out where you want to go next. Sarah May sat on the edge of the bed. Her whole body ached. Her face where her father had hit her throbbed. Her hands were blistered raw from the rains. But underneath all of that was something else. Something that felt almost like peace. Cole. He turned from the window. Yeah. What I said back there. About choosing you. I didn't mean... She stopped, unsure how to explain. I don't expect anything from you. You've done more than enough already. If you want to leave me here with Marcus and go on your way, I'd understand. Cole crossed the room and knelt in front of her so they were eye level. Is that what you want? For me to leave? No. The word came out barely above a whisper. But I don't want you to feel obligated either. You didn't ask for any of this. Neither did you. His eyes searched her face. I'm not leaving unless you tell me to. And even then, I'd probably argue about it. A slight smile touched his mouth. You're stuck with me for a while, Sarah May. Better get used to it. Relief flooded through her so strong it made her dizzy. Okay. Okay. He stood. Now let's get you cleaned up before Marcus sends up food. He heated water in the small stove and poured it into the wash basin, then stepped outside to give her privacy. Sarah May stripped off her dusty dress and washed 3 days of trail dirt from her skin. The water turned gray almost immediately. She scrubbed until her skin was pink and raw, trying to wash away the feeling of her father's hand across her face, the judgment in the congregation's eyes, the suffocating weight of 22 years of fear. When she was clean and dressed in the only other dress she owned, pulled from Cole's pack where he'd insisted she bring it, she called him back in. He'd washed up somehow too, his face clean, his hair damp. He looked younger without the trail dust, more vulnerable. "Better?" he asked. "Much." A knock at the door made them both jump. Marcus entered carrying a tray loaded with more food than Sarah May had seen in months. Roasted chicken potatoes, fresh bread, real butter. "Eat," he commanded. "Both of you. You look half-starved." He wasn't wrong. Sarah May couldn't remember the last time she'd eaten a full meal. Her father believed gluttony was a sin, so portions at home had been small and joyless. They ate in silence until Marcus finally spoke. "So what's the plan?" Cole looked at Sarah May. "That's up to her." "Me," Sarah May set down her fork. "I don't know anything about making plans." "Then learn." Marcus's voice was gruff, but not unkind. "You're free now. That means choices. What do you want?" The question still felt impossible. "I want—" She stopped, started again. "I want to see the ocean." Both men looked at her. "The ocean," Marcus said. "I've never seen it. Read about it in books, but never—" She felt heat rise in her cheeks. "Is that stupid?" "No," Cole said quietly. "It's not stupid. It's honest." He looked at Marcus. "How far to the coast from here?" 3 weeks if you push hard. Month if you take it easy." Marcus studied Sarah May. "That what you really want? Ocean's a long way." "I know. But I've spent my whole life in the same place. Seeing the same things. Being told what to think and feel and want." She met his eyes. "I want to see something so big, it makes me feel small in a good way. Something that reminds me the world is bigger than Redemption Creek." Marcus nodded slowly. "Fair enough." He turned to Cole. "You're going with her. If she'll have me. Then you'll need supplies, money. Better horses. That gelding of yours won't make it another week at the pace you've been setting." "I've got money," Cole said. "Not much, but enough." "And I've got nothing," Sarah May added quietly. "I left with just what I was wearing." "That's fine." Cole's voice was firm. "You don't need money. I've got enough for both of us." "But that's not fair." "Fair's got nothing to do with it. I invited you on this ride. That makes you my responsibility." Sarah May wanted to argue, but she was too tired, too overwhelmed. She'd never had anyone take care of her before, not in a way that felt like care instead of control. Marcus stood. "Get some sleep, both of you. Tomorrow we'll get you sorted out." He paused at the door. "And Sarah May. Yes. What you did today took guts, standing up to your father like that. Most people never find that kind of courage." He nodded once. "You're going to be fine." After he left Sarah May and Cole finished eating in comfortable silence. The sun had set while they'd talked, leaving the room dim and warm from the stove. "You should sleep," Cole said, pulling a blanket from his pack. "I'll be right here if you need anything." Sarah May climbed into the bed, a real bed with a real mattress and sheets that smelled like soap instead of fear. She should have felt safe, should have been able to relax. Instead, every time she closed her eyes, she saw her father's face, heard his voice calling her damned. "Cole?" "Yeah." His voice came from the darkness near the window. "Do you think I'm damned?" Silence. Then the sound of him moving closer. "No." "My father does. The whole town probably does." "Your father's wrong. So's the town." "How do you know?" "Because God doesn't punish people for choosing to live." The mattress dipped as Cole sat on the edge of the bed. "If he does, then he's not worth worshipping anyway. That's blasphemy." "Maybe, but it's also the truth." He was quiet for a moment. "My mother used to say that God gave us free will for a reason. That choosing yourself isn't a sin, it's the whole point. We're supposed to become who we really are, not who other people think we should be. Your mother sounds wise. She was. Took me years to understand what she meant. His hand found hers in the darkness. But I understand now. And so do you, whether you realize it or not. His hand was warm, calloused, steady. Sarah May held onto it like an anchor. "I'm scared," she whispered. "I know. What if I can't do this? What if I'm not strong enough? Then I'll be strong enough for both of us until you are." He squeezed her hand. "That's what this is, Sarah May. Partnership. You don't have to carry everything alone anymore." She wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that she wasn't just trading one cage for another. But trust was hard when you'd spent your whole life being told you were wrong about everything. "Stay," she said suddenly. "Please, just don't go to the floor. Stay here where I can hear you breathing." Cole was quiet for so long she thought he'd refuse. Then, "You sure?" "I'm sure. I don't want to be alone tonight." "All right." He stretched out on top of the blankets, carefully leaving space between them. "But I'm staying right here. Not under the covers. Not. I know. I trust you." The words hung in the air between them, fragile and true. They lay there in the darkness, not touching, except for their joined hands. And eventually, Sarah May's breathing evened out into sleep. Cole stayed awake longer, watching the shadows on the ceiling, wondering what the hell he was doing, and knowing he wouldn't stop, even if he could figure it out. Morning came with sunlight streaming through the window and voices from the street below. Sarah May woke to find Cole already up, standing at the window again. "You sleep at all?" she asked. "Some." He turned. "How are you feeling?" "Sore, but better." She sat up, suddenly self-conscious about sleeping in the same bed as him. "Thank you for staying." "Anytime." He moved away from the window. "Marcus is downstairs. Said he'd take us to the general store when you're ready." They found Marcus in the saloon, eating breakfast and talking to a thin man with nervous hands who kept glancing at the door. "Sarah May Cole, this is Daniel. He's heading to Sacramento. Leaving this afternoon." Marcus's tone was deliberately casual. "Thought you might want to know." Cole caught on immediately. "That's so." "Yep. Taking the northern route. Stops in about 10 towns along the way." Marcus met Cole's eyes. "Safe route. Well-traveled. No questions asked about passengers." "We're not going to Sacramento," Sarah May said. "No, but you could go part way with Daniel. Get some distance between you and Redemption Creek. Then head to the coast from wherever you like." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "Just a thought." Cole looked at Sarah May. "What do you think?" She thought about her father. About Sheriff Tucker, who'd looked uncomfortable but complicit. About the possibility that they'd come back with more men with legal papers, with determination to drag her home. "I think it's a good idea," she said quietly. Daniel spoke for the first time, his voice high and reedy. "I leave at 3 o'clock. Wagons out back. You're welcome to ride along if you can pay your share of supplies." "We can pay," Cole said. "Thank you." After Daniel left, Marcus took them to the general store. They bought flour beans, coffee-dried meat blankets, ammunition for Cole's rifle. The proprietor's wife, a round woman with kind eyes, pulled Sarah May aside. "You need proper traveling clothes, dear. Can't ride in that dress." She produced a pair of men's trousers, a simple shirt, a canvas jacket. "These should fit well enough. And here," she added a wide-brimmed hat. "Keep the sun off your face." Sarah May stared at the trousers. "I can't wear those. It's practical," the woman said firmly. "And no one out there's going to care what you're wearing as long as you're dressed sensible." She lowered her voice. "Word's gotten around about what happened at the saloon yesterday, about you standing up to your father." She squeezed Sarah May's hand. "Good for you, honey. Now stop arguing and take the damn clothes." In the back room, Sarah May changed into the trousers and shirt. They felt strange, liberating, and scandalous at once. She could move without fabric tangling around her legs, could breathe without a tight bodice constricting her ribs. When she emerged, Cole's expression was carefully neutral. "How's it feel?" "Strange." "Good." "Wrong." "I don't know." She looked down at herself. "Do I look ridiculous?" "You look like someone who's ready to ride." His eyes met hers. "You look free." Marcus paid for everything before Cole could argue, waving off protests. "Consider it a gift, and Cole—" He pulled Cole aside while Sarah May was distracted by the proprietor's wife adding a bedroll to their pile. "You be careful with that girl. She's been through hell." "I know." "Do you? Because from where I'm standing, she's looking at you like you hung the moon, and you're looking at her like you've never seen a woman before." Marcus's voice dropped. "She's vulnerable. Doesn't know her own mind yet. You take advantage of that and I really will break every bone in your body." "I won't." Cole's voice was steady. "I'm not. This isn't about that. I'm just trying to help her get free." "And then what?" "I don't know. Haven't thought that far ahead." Marcus studied him. "You're a good man, Cole Maverick. But good men can still hurt people without meaning to. Just be careful. For both your sakes." They spent the rest of the morning preparing. Daniel's wagon was sturdy, pulled by 2 draft horses that looked strong enough to handle the journey. Sarah May helped load supplies, marveling at how much easier physical work was in trousers. At 2:30, they said goodbye to Marcus. The big man pulled Sarah May into an unexpected hug. "You ever need anything at all, you come back here. Understand?" "Thank you," Sarah May said against his chest. "For everything. Just be happy. That's all the thanks I need." The wagon rolled out at 3 o'clock exactly. Daniel drove his wife Esther beside him, and their 2 small children tucked in back with the supplies. Cole and Sarah May rode in the wagon bed, watching Copper Falls shrink behind them. "You all right?" Cole asked. Sarah May touched the compass in her pocket. "I am. I really am." They traveled for 6 days with Daniel and his family. The children, Matthew and Anna, aged 6 and 4, lost their initial shyness and began treating Sarah May like a favorite aunt. She told them stories she remembered from her mother, who died when Sarah May was 8. Simple stories about birds and foxes and brave little girls. Esther watched with approval. "You're good with children." "I used to teach Sunday school. Before—" Sarah May stopped. "Before everything changed." "You miss it?" "Sometimes, but I don't miss the rest of it." She looked at Anna sleeping in her lap. "I don't miss being afraid all the time." On the 6th night, they camped near a river. The children splashed in the shallows while the adults set up tents. Sarah May helped Esther prepare dinner, her hands finally comfortable with the routine of camp cooking. "Can I ask you something?" Esther said quietly. "Of course." "That man, Cole, you 2 married?" Heat flooded Sarah May's face. "No, he's helping me, that's all." "That's all." Esther smiled. "Honey, I've seen the way he looks at you, and the way you look at him. That's not just helping." "I don't know what it is," Sarah May admitted. "Everything happened so fast. One day, I was in my father's house, the next, I was running away with a man I'd just met. I haven't had time to think about what it means." "Maybe you don't need to think. Maybe you just need to feel." Esther stirred the pot of stew. "Life's short. We don't always get second chances at happiness." That night, Sarah May lay in her bedroll thinking about Esther's words. Cole was across the fire as usual, hat pulled low, breathing deep and steady. But she could feel the space between them like something physical, a distance that felt both too far and not far enough. "Cole," she whispered. "Yeah." "You awake?" "Obviously." "Can I ask you something?" "Always." "Why did you really help me?" "The truth this time." He was quiet so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, because I saw myself in you, saw what it's like to live in a cage you can't see because it's made of people's expectations instead of bars. He shifted his voice rougher. And because when you looked at me that first day in the church, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. What? Like maybe I wasn't supposed to be alone forever? Sarah May's breath caught. Cole, don't say anything yet. He sat up silhouetted against the stars. I'm not asking you for anything, not expecting anything. I know this is all too much too fast. I wanted you to know the truth, that this isn't charity, that you're not a burden, that somewhere along the way helping you turned into wanting to be with you. And I don't know what to do about that, except be honest. Sarah May sat up too. Across the dying fire, his eyes caught the last light and glowed like embers. I don't know what I feel, she said slowly. I don't know if what I'm feeling is real or if it's just gratitude. Relief. Freedom making me confused. She pulled the compass from her pocket. But I know I don't want you to leave. And I know when I wake up scared in the middle of the night, the first thing I look for is you. Sarah May. I'm not done. Her voice was stronger now. You said this is partnership, that I don't have to carry everything alone. Well, neither do you. Whatever this is between us, whether it's friendship or something else, it goes both ways. You understand? Cole smiled slow and genuine. Yes, ma'am. Good. She lay back down. Now get some sleep. We've got a long day tomorrow. But neither of them slept for a long time, both staring at the stars and wondering what they'd started and where it would end. On the 8th day, they reached the town where Daniel and his family would continue north while Cole and Sarah May turned west toward the coast. The parting was harder than Sarah May expected. The children cried. Esther hugged her tight and whispered, "Follow your heart, not your head. Your head's been lied to your whole life." Daniel shook Cole's hand. You take care of her. I will. And you? Daniel looked at Sarah May. You take care of yourself. Don't let anyone tell you who to be, not even him. They watched the wagon roll away until it disappeared over a hill. Then they were alone again, just the two of them, and the open road and the ocean somewhere ahead. Ready? Cole asked. Sarah May adjusted the hat that had become as familiar as her own skin. Ready. They walked their horses through town, stopping to buy fresh supplies and ask about the best route west. The shopkeeper, an old man with one good eye, drew them a rough map. Stay on the main road, 3 days to the coast if the weather holds. But watch yourself. He tapped the map. There's rough country between here and there, bandits sometimes, and the terrain gets tricky. We'll be careful, Cole said. They left town at noon, riding side by side now instead of Sarah May behind Cole. She'd gotten good enough to handle her own horse, a gentle mare Marcus had insisted they take instead of doubling up on Cole's gelding. The landscape changed as they rode. Hills gave way to forests, forests to rocky terrain that made the horses pick their way carefully. By nightfall, they'd covered good ground, but Sarah May could tell Cole was tense. What's wrong? Don't like this country. Too many places for trouble to hide. You think someone's following us? No, but that doesn't mean no one is. He scanned the darkening forest around them. We'll camp without a fire tonight, just to be safe. They ate cold food and settled into their bedrolls as darkness fell complete and absolute. Sarah May had never experienced darkness like this, so thick she couldn't see her hand in front of her face. Cole? Right here. I can't see anything. That's the point. If we can't see, no one else can either. His voice moved closer. You scared? A little. Come here. She felt him pull his bedroll next to hers, felt his warmth along her side. Better. Better. They lay there in the darkness, not touching, but close enough that Sarah May could hear his heartbeat. She thought about Esther's words, about Cole's confession by the fire, about the way her own heart raced when he was near, and ached when he was far. Cole. Yeah. If something happened to me, if we got separated, or if I... Nothing's going to happen. But if it did, if something went wrong, would you... She stopped, unsure how to ask what she wanted to ask. Would I what? Would you try to find me, or would you just keep going? His hand found hers in the darkness. I'd tear the whole world apart looking for you. Understand? Why? Because somewhere along the way, you stopped being someone I was helping and became someone I can't imagine living without. His grip tightened. So yeah, I'd find you, no matter what. Sarah May's eyes burned with tears she couldn't see. I think I'm falling in love with you, she whispered. And I don't know if it's real or if I'm just confused, but I needed you to know. Cole was silent for so long she thought she'd made a terrible mistake. Then he pulled her close, tucking her against his chest, his chin resting on top of her head. I know, he said quietly. And when you're sure, when you know it's real and not just gratitude or relief, you tell me. Because I'm already there, Sarah May. Have been since you walked out of that church like you were walking through fire. And I'll wait as long as it takes for you to catch up. She fell asleep in his arms, feeling safer than she'd ever felt in her life, not knowing that by morning, everything would change again. Sarah May woke to the sound of horses. Not their horses, those were still tethered nearby, stamping nervously. These were different. Multiple riders moving through the forest with purpose, getting closer. Cole's hand clamped over her mouth before she could speak. His lips brushed her ear. Don't move. Don't make a sound. Her heart hammered so hard she thought it would give them away. Cole's body was tense against hers, coiled like a spring. Through the pre-dawn darkness, she could make out shapes moving between the trees. 3 riders, maybe 4, picking their way carefully through the undergrowth. Tracks go this way, a voice called out. Rough male, unfamiliar. How old? Day, maybe less. 2 horses, light loads, moving west. Sarah May felt Cole's jaw clench against her hair. His hand moved from her mouth to his rifle fingers wrapping around the stock with practiced ease. The riders moved closer, close enough that Sarah May could smell tobacco smoke and unwashed bodies, close enough to see the glint of weapons in their hands. Could be anybody, a third voice said. Probably just travelers. Could be that preacher's daughter and the drifter. The first voice again. Reverend's offering $500 for her return, dead or alive for him. Sarah May's blood turned to ice. $500. Her father had put a bounty on Cole's head. That's a lot of money for a girl who ran off, the second rider said. Ain't about the girl, it's about the principle. Man takes another man's property, he pays the price. She's not property, she's his daughter. Same thing according to him. And $500 is $500. The first rider urged his horse forward. Fan out, check the area. If they camped here, there'll be signs. Cole's grip on the rifle tightened. Sarah May could feel him calculating distances, angles, odds. 4 against 1 with her to protect. The mathematics weren't good. One of the riders dismounted 20 feet from their position, started poking through the brush with his rifle barrel. Cole slowly, silently released Sarah May and brought his rifle up to his shoulder. The rider moved closer. 15 feet. 10. His boot stepped on a branch, and it cracked like a gunshot. Everyone froze. Something's here, the rider called out. Cole stood up fast, rifle aimed. That's far enough. The rider stumbled backward, going for his gun. Cole fired first, not at the man, but at the ground near his feet. Dirt and stone exploded upward. The rider fell on his ass, cursing. Next one goes through your chest, Cole said calmly. Now all of you nice and slow, put your weapons on the ground. Like hell, the first rider snarled from his horse. There's 4 of us, and 1 of you. And I'll kill at least 2 before you get me. Want to volunteer to be first? Cole's voice didn't rise, didn't waver, just stated fact. Put them Down. He's bluffing, another rider said. Cole's rifle shifted, tracking. Try me. Sarah May had grabbed Cole's pistol from his pack, her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold it. She pointed it at the nearest rider, hoping he couldn't see how terrified she was. "There's 2 guns on you now," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "And I'm scared enough to pull this trigger by accident, so I suggest you listen." The riders exchanged looks. Finally, reluctantly, weapons started hitting the ground. "Good," Cole said. "Now back away from them. Slow." They backed up. Cole kept his rifle trained on them while Sarah May gathered their guns, 3 pistols, 2 rifles. Her hands were steadier now, adrenaline replacing fear. "You're making a mistake," the first rider said. His face was weathered mean with a scar running from his eye to his jaw. "Reverend Thornton's got the law on his side." "The law says she's an adult who can make her own choices," Cole said. "Law says whatever people with money say it says, and the Reverend's got plenty of both." The rider spat on the ground. "You think you can run forever, he'll find you, and when he does, I'll deal with it." Cole gestured with his rifle. "Now mount up and get out of here, and tell the Reverend if he sends anyone else after us, they won't walk away." "That a threat?" "It's a promise." The riders mounted slowly, glaring but compliant. The one with the scar looked at Sarah May. "You sure this is what you want, girl? Running with a man who'll get you killed?" "I'm sure," Sarah May said. "Now leave before I shoot you myself." They rode off, cursing and muttering threats. Cole didn't lower his rifle until they disappeared completely into the forest. Then he turned to Sarah May. "You okay?" "No." Her hand started shaking again, worse than before. They were going to... "I know." He took the pistol from her gently before she dropped it. "But they didn't. You did good, Sarah May." "I've never pointed a gun at another person before." "Hope you never have to again, but at least now you know you can if you need to." He started breaking down their camp with quick, efficient movements. "We need to move, fast. They'll be back with more men." "How many more?" "As many as $500 will buy." He swung into his saddle. "Come on, we're not stopping until we hit the coast." They rode hard, pushing the horses to their limits. Sarah May's mare was breathing hard within an hour, foam forming at her mouth. Cole's gelding fared better, but not by much. "We can't keep this pace," Sarah May called over the pounding hooves. "We don't have a choice. The horses will die. Better them than us." But he slowed slightly, letting the animals catch their breath. "I'm sorry. I should have seen this coming." "How could you have known he'd put a bounty on you?" "Because I know what men like your father do when they lose control. They buy it back." His jaw was tight. $500. That's more than most people see in 5 years. He's serious about this. "About killing you. About owning you." Cole looked at her. "To him, you're not a person. You're property that escaped. And he'll do whatever it takes to get you back." Sarah May thought about her father's face in the saloon. The rage, the certainty, the absolute conviction that he was right and everyone else was wrong. "He'll never stop," she said quietly. "No, probably not." Cole adjusted his grip on the reins. "But we don't have to make it easy for him." They rode until noon before stopping to rest the horses. Sarah May's legs were numb, her back screaming, but Cole was right, they couldn't stop. Not yet. "How far to the coast?" she asked. "Day and a half if we're lucky. 3 days if we're not." He studied the sky. "Weather's turning. Could work for us or against us. Meaning, rain'll cover our tracks but make the riding miserable. And if they catch us in the open during a storm..." He didn't finish the thought. They shared jerky and water, neither tasting anything. Sarah May kept looking over her shoulder, expecting to see riders cresting the hill behind them. "Cole?" "Yeah." "What you said last night, about tearing the world apart to find me if we got separated." She met his eyes. "I meant what I said, too." About falling in love with you. I know. But I need you to understand something. She moved closer. If it comes down to you or me, if my father catches up and you have a choice between fighting and running, don't. Listen to me. Her voice was fierce. I won't be the reason you die. If it comes to that, you run. You leave me and you run. That's not happening. Cole, I said it's not happening. His hands cupped her face, forcing her to look at him. You hear me? I'm not leaving you. Not for your father, not for a bounty, not for anything. We're in this together now. That's not fair to you. Fair's got nothing to do with it. This is choice Sarah May. My choice. And I'm choosing you. He kissed her forehead gentle and quick. Now stop arguing and let's move. They rode into the afternoon, the sky growing darker with each mile. By 3 o'clock, the first drops of rain began to fall. By 4, it was a deluge. Sarah May was soaked through in minutes. Her clothes stuck to her skin, the hat doing nothing to keep water from streaming down her face. The horses struggled through mud that sucked at their hooves with each step. There, Cole pointed ahead. Rock outcropping. We can shelter there. They made it to the rocks just as lightning split the sky. The horses were trembling wild-eyed. Cole got them under the overhang and started rubbing them down with his saddle blanket. Get out of those wet clothes, he said to Sarah May, and wear what? There's a dry shirt in my pack. It's big, but it's better than pneumonia. Sarah May's fingers were so cold she could barely work her buttons. Cole turned his back, giving her privacy, while she stripped off her soaked shirt and pulled on his. It hung to her knees, warm from being packed tight. You can turn around, she said. He did, and his expression did something complicated when he saw her. That's good. Better. They huddled under the rock overhang while the storm raged. Lightning cracked so close Sarah May could smell ozone. Thunder shook the ground beneath them. We can't travel in this, she said. No, we'll wait it out. Cole was scanning their surroundings, tension radiating off him. But we're exposed here. If they catch up, then they catch up. We can't control the weather. No, but we can be ready. He checked his rifle, making sure it was dry. Checked his pistol. Handed Sarah May the spare pistol he'd taken from the bounty hunters. You remember how to use this. Point and pull the trigger. That's the basics. But listen, if it comes to shooting, don't hesitate. Don't think. Just do it. His eyes were serious. Can you do that? I don't know. That's honest. But Sarah May, if those men catch us, they won't give you a choice. They'll kill me and drag you back to your father. So if it comes down to it, you shoot. Understand? She nodded, throat tight. I understand. The storm lasted 3 hours. 3 hours of rain and wind and lightning that made the horses scream. 3 hours of waiting, expecting riders to appear through the sheets of water at any moment. But no one came. When the rain finally stopped, the world looked scrubbed clean. Water dripped from every surface. The air smelled like wet earth and possibility. We should move, Cole said. Storm'll have washed out our tracks, but it bought us time. They rode into the evening through terrain that grew increasingly rocky and difficult. Sarah May's mare stumbled twice, nearly throwing her. Cole's gelding was limping slightly, favoring its left foreleg. Horses can't take much more, Sarah May said. I know, but we're close. I can smell the ocean. Sarah May inhaled deeply. There, underneath the smell of wet earth and pine, something else. Something salt-sharp and vast. How far? Tomorrow. If we push through the night, maybe by dawn. The horses. I know. Cole's voice was tight. But those men are still behind us. And they won't stop for darkness or tired horses or anything else. It's $500, Sarah May. That's more than enough reason to ride through hell. They rode through the night, taking turns dozing in the saddle, while the other kept watch. Sarah May had never been so tired in her life. Every muscle screamed. Her eyes burned from strain and lack of sleep. But she kept going, because Cole kept going, and she'd be damned if she'd be the one to give up first. Dawn came slowly, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. And there, through the trees ahead, Sarah May saw it. The ocean. "Cole," she breathed. "Look." He looked, smiled. "We made it." They urged the horses forward down the final slope toward the water. The trees gave way to sand and rock. The sound of waves crashing filled Sarah May's ears, drowning out everything else. They reached the beach and dismounted. Sarah May took 3 steps toward the water and fell to her knees. It was bigger than she'd imagined, bigger than anything could be. The horizon stretched endlessly, water meeting sky in a line so perfect it looked drawn. Waves rolled in and out with a rhythm that felt ancient, eternal, utterly indifferent to human concerns. Cole knelt beside her. "What do you think?" "I think." Her voice broke. "I think I've never seen anything so beautiful in my entire life." They sat there watching the sunrise paint the water in impossible colors. Sarah May felt something inside her chest crack open, some final piece of her father's cage breaking away and dissolving into the salt air. "We're free," she whispered. "We actually made it." "Not yet." Cole was looking back the way they'd come. "Not until we figure out what comes next." "What do you mean?" "I mean your father's still out there, still offering money, still sending men." He turned to her. "We can keep running. Go to San Francisco maybe, or farther north. Or what? Or we stop running. We find a place to make a stand. Get married if you want, make it legal so he can't claim you as property anymore. Build something permanent instead of just surviving." Sarah May's heart jumped. "Married? If you want. If it's not too soon. If—" He stopped. Started again. "I love you, Sarah May. I know it's fast and probably crazy and definitely complicated, but I love you. And if you'll have me, if you're sure this is what you want, I'll marry you today if you say yes." She looked at him. Really looked at him. This man who'd given her freedom when she hadn't known to ask for it. Who'd protected her, taught her, believed in her when she didn't believe in herself. This man who was offering her not just escape, but a future. "Yes," she said. "Yes. Yes." She laughed, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, I'll marry you. Today, tomorrow, whenever we can find someone to do it. Yes." Cole kissed her, then the first real kiss between them. It was gentle and fierce at once, tasting like salt air and possibility. When they broke apart, both were crying. "We'll find a town," Cole said. "Find a preacher who doesn't ask questions. Make it legal so your father can't touch you. And then we figure out what comes after. Together." They stood helping each other up and turned toward the north, where smoke from a town's chimneys was just visible in the distance. Behind them, their tracks in the sand were already being erased by the incoming tide. Ahead, the future waited, uncertain, terrifying, full of promise. Sarah May touched the compass in her pocket one last time. Then she took Cole's hand, and they started walking toward whatever came next, leaving nothing behind but footprints the ocean would soon claim. The town was called Seabrook, a fishing village, clinging to the coast like a barnacle to a rock. They rode in exhausted, salt-crusted, looking like exactly what they were, people who'd been running hard and running scared. The local minister was a kind-faced man named Father Benedict, who took one look at them and invited them inside without questions. His church was small, weathered by wind and spray, smelling like candle wax and old wood. "You're in trouble," he said. Statement, not question. "Yes," Cole said, "but we're not criminals." "Didn't figure you were. Criminals don't usually want to get married." Father Benedict smiled. "But you do want to get married." "We do," Sarah May said. "Today if possible," Cole added. "We don't have much time." Father Benedict studied them both. "You love each other." "Yes," they said together. "You're both of age and sound mind." "Yes." "Then I don't need to know anything else." He pulled out a worn Bible. Let's make it official before whoever's chasing you catches up." The ceremony took 10 minutes. No flowers, no music, no witnesses except Father Benedict's housekeeper, who signed the marriage certificate with a knowing smile. Cole had no ring to offer, so he gave Sarah May his mother's compass instead. "It's yours now," he said, "and so am I." "I don't have anything to give you," Sarah May whispered. "You gave me yourself. That's everything." Father Benedict pronounced them husband and wife. Cole kissed her again, different this time, a promise acclaiming a beginning. "There's a boarding house 2 streets over," Father Benedict said. "Mrs. Chen doesn't ask questions. Tell her I sent you." "Thank you," Sarah May said. "Don't thank me yet. You're married now, that's the easy part." He smiled. "Living together, building a life, facing whatever comes, that's where it gets hard. But if you've got love and honesty, you've got a fighting chance." They found Mrs. Chen's boarding house easily. The woman was tiny, ancient, with eyes that saw everything and judged nothing. She led them upstairs to a small room with a window overlooking the ocean. "You pay by the week," she said. "No noise after 9, no guests without permission, no questions asked about your past." She looked at their joined hands. "Newlyweds?" "Yes, ma'am," Cole said. "Then you'll want privacy. I'll have food sent up." She paused at the door. "And young man, there are men asking about a couple matching your description in town, offering money for information. Thought you should know." Cole's hand went to his pistol. "How many?" "3 that I've seen. Could be more." Mrs. Chen's expression didn't change. "If anyone asks, I haven't seen you. But you should leave soon. Tonight if you're smart." After she left, Cole locked the door and checked the window, 2nd floor, too high to jump, but they could climb down if necessary. "We can't stay here," Sarah May said. "I know, but we need rest. The horses need rest." He ran a hand through his hair. "Few hours. We'll sleep in shifts, leave before midnight. And go where? Farther north, across the border into Oregon maybe. Your father's influence only reaches so far." Sarah May moved to the window. The ocean stretched before her, vast and uncaring and beautiful. She'd seen it now. Had touched the water with her own hands, tasted salt on her lips, heard the endless rhythm of waves. She'd gotten what she wanted, but the price kept rising. "Cole," she said without turning. "Yeah. Do you ever regret it, helping me that day?" "Never." His arms wrapped around her from behind, pulling her against his chest. "Not once. Not even a little. Even though it's turned your whole life upside down. Especially because of that." He rested his chin on her shoulder. "I was just drifting before you, just existing. Now I've got something to live for, someone to build a life with." He turned her to face him. "You're my wife now, Sarah May Maverick, and I'll spend the rest of my life making sure that means something." She kissed him, then deeply, properly, feeling desire flare between them for the first time without fear or guilt or shame. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "We should rest," Cole said, voice rough. "We should." Sarah May agreed, but neither moved toward the bed. They stood there watching each other, years of repression on her side, and careful restraint on his, finally breaking down. "I've never—" Sarah May started. "I know. And I want to, but I'm scared. I know that too." Cole cupped her face. "We've got time. We don't have to, but I want to." She met his eyes. "I want to choose this. Choose you. Choose to be your wife in every way, not just on paper." Cole searched her face. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." "Then come here," he said softly, "and let me show you what it means to be loved instead of owned." What happened next was gentle and patient, and nothing like what Sarah May's father had taught her to fear. Cole was careful with her, attentive, making sure she was ready before each step. When it hurt, he stopped. When she was scared, he waited. When she finally said yes, really yes to everything, he loved her like she was something precious. Afterward, they lay tangled together in the small bed, listening to the ocean through the window. "That wasn't what I expected," Sarah May said. "Good unexpected or bad unexpected?" "Good." She traced patterns on his chest. "Really good." Cole smiled against her hair. "It gets better. With practice." "Does it?" "It does." He pulled her closer. "But right now we need to sleep. Few hours at least. Then we're gone." Sarah May closed her eyes, feeling safe despite everything. Safe and loved and chosen. For the first time in her life, she belonged to herself. And she'd chosen to share that self with someone who treated it like the gift it was. They slept for 4 hours, waking when Mrs. Chen knocked softly to tell them the men were still searching the town, getting closer. They left through this back, leading their horses quietly through alleys until they reached the northern road out of town. Behind them, Seabrook was sleeping. Ahead, the unknown waited. But they were together now, married, committed. No longer just two people running, they were partners facing whatever came next. Sarah May pulled out the compass, her compass now, and watched the needle settle north. "Ready." Cole took her hand. "With you always." They rode into the darkness, leaving Seabrook behind, heading toward a future they'd build together, one choice at a time. The ocean roared behind them, the stars blazed above, and for the first time since leaving Redemption Creek, Sarah May felt something she'd never felt before. Hope. They rode north for 3 days straight, stopping only when the horses were about to collapse. Sarah May learned to sleep in the saddle, her body swaying with the rhythm, while Cole kept watch. They spoke little, conserving energy for the constant vigilance that kept them alive. On the 4th morning, they crossed into Oregon territory. The landscape changed subtly, more green, more rain air, that tasted different somehow. Cole finally allowed them to slow the pace. "We're far enough now," he said. "Your father's reach doesn't extend this far." "You sure about that?" "No. But $500 buys less loyalty the farther you get from the source." He looked at her. Really looked at her for the first time in days. "You're exhausted." "So are you." "Yeah, but I'm used to it. You're not." He pointed ahead where smoke rose from what looked like a settlement. "We'll stop there, rest properly, figure out what comes next." The town was called Timber Ridge, built around a lumber mill that powered the entire economy. It was rough, new, full of men who'd come west to start over and didn't care about anyone else's past. They found a small cabin for rent on the edge of town, 1 room, a stove, a bed, and blessed privacy. The owner was a widow named Mrs. Patterson, who accepted their money without asking questions. "You'll want work," she said to Cole. "Mill's always hiring. Pays decent if you don't mind the danger." "I don't mind danger." "Good. Then you'll fit right in." She looked at Sarah May. "And you, dear, what can you do?" "I can read and write, do sums, teach children." Sarah May heard herself say it and felt surprised. She hadn't thought about what she could do, only what she'd escaped from. "Schoolteacher quit last month, ran off with a gambler." Mrs. Patterson smiled. "Position's still open if you want it. Doesn't pay much, but it's honest work." After she left, Sarah May looked at Cole. "A teacher. I could be a teacher. You'd be good at it." "You think so?" "I know so. You're patient, smart, good with people when you're not terrified." He pulled her close. "And you deserve a chance to be something other than someone's daughter or someone's wife. You deserve to be yourself." Sarah May felt tears prick her eyes. "How do you always know the right thing to say?" "I don't. I just pay attention." He kissed her forehead. "Now let's get settled. We've got a life to build." Cole started at the mill the next morning. The work was brutal, 10 hours a day of hauling timber, operating machinery that could kill you if you weren't careful, breathing sawdust that turned your lungs to leather. But it paid well and asked no questions, which made it perfect. Sarah May met with the town council about the teaching position. They were skeptical at first. She was young female, newly arrived, but when she demonstrated her knowledge of literature, mathematics, and scripture, they relented. "School starts Monday," the council chairman said. 12 students ages 6 to 14. You'll teach reading, writing, arithmetic, and moral instruction. Any problems with discipline, you report to me." "Yes, sir." "And Mrs. Maverick?" He looked at her seriously. "We're a small town. We take care of our own. But that also means we don't tolerate troublemakers or people running from the law. You understand?" "We're not running from the law," Sarah May said steadily. "We're just trying to start over." "Fair enough. Welcome to Timber Ridge." That first week felt like a dream. Sarah May woke before dawn to make Cole breakfast. He left for the mill while she prepared lessons. She taught until mid-afternoon, then came home to make dinner and wait for Cole to return exhausted and covered in sawdust, but grinning when he saw her. "How was school?" he'd ask every evening. "Good. Tommy Fletcher tried to put a frog in Susie Morgan's lunch pail." "Did you let him?" "No, but I made him write an essay about why scaring girls isn't as funny as he thinks it is." Cole would laugh and pull her into his arms, and Sarah May would think that maybe, just maybe, they'd actually made it. Maybe they could have this. A normal life. A future. But on Friday evening, 2 weeks into their new life, everything changed. Sarah May was grading papers when Cole burst through the door, his face pale. "We have to leave. Now." "What? Why?" "Man came to the mill today, asking questions. Said he was a U.S. Marshal looking for a kidnapped woman." Cole started throwing their belongings into packs. "Described you perfectly. Said there was a warrant for my arrest." Sarah May's stomach dropped. "A marshal? But you didn't kidnap me." "Doesn't matter. Your father's got enough money to buy official papers." His hands were shaking as he packed. "We have maybe an hour before he figures out where we are." "But the school, my students—" "Sarah May." Cole grabbed her shoulders. "If they catch me, they'll hang me. And they'll drag you back to your father. Is that what you want?" "No, of course not, but—" She looked around their little cabin, at the life they'd been building. "Can't we fight this? Tell them the truth?" "The truth doesn't matter when the other side has money and influence." He gentled his voice. "I'm sorry. I know this isn't fair. But we have to go." They left everything they couldn't carry. Sarah May scribbled a quick note to Mrs. Patterson explaining nothing, because there was nothing to explain that wouldn't sound like excuses. They saddled the horses and rode out the back way, heading deeper into the mountains, where roads gave way to trails, and trails gave way to nothing. That night, they camped in a ravine, no fire sharing body heat, while rain poured down around them. "I'm so tired of running," Sarah May whispered. "I know. When does it end?" Cole was quiet for a long time. "I don't know. Maybe never. Or maybe—" He stopped. "Maybe what?" "Maybe we need to go somewhere your father can't follow. Somewhere so remote, so far from civilization that even his money can't reach." "Where?" "Montana. Up near the Canadian border. There's ranch country up there. Homesteading land. We could file a claim, build a place, make ourselves hard to find." "That's hundreds of miles away." "I know. Through winter." "I know that too." He pulled her closer. "But what's the alternative? Keep running town to town, always looking over our shoulders, never staying long enough to build anything." Sarah May thought about her students, about the little cabin in Timber Ridge, about all the things she'd wanted to be and do that kept getting snatched away. How long would it take to get to Montana? 2 months if we're careful, 3 if winter catches us early. And then what? We just hide forever. We build a life, a real life, somewhere no one can touch us. His voice was fierce. "I promised you freedom, Sarah May, and I meant it. Even if I have to take you to the edge of the world to give it to you." She closed her eyes and made her choice. "Okay, Montana. Let's go to Montana." They left Oregon before dawn, heading east toward the mountains that would take them to Montana. The journey was harder than anything they'd faced before. Snow came early, turning trails into treacherous ice. They ran out of food twice and had to hunt or starve. Sarah May learned to shoot properly, bringing down a deer that kept them alive for a week. Cole's horse went lame in the third week. They had to put it down and double up on Sarah May's mare, who struggled under the extra weight. By the fourth week, they were walking more than riding, leading the exhausted horse through snow that came up to their knees. "We're not going to make it," Sarah May said one night, her lips blue from cold. "Yes, we are." "Cole, be realistic. We're almost out of food, the horse is dying, and winter's only getting worse." "I said we're going to make it." His voice was hard. "Because the alternative is giving up, and I won't do that. Not now. Not after everything we've been through. Even if it kills us. Especially if it kills us. Because at least we'll die free, instead of living in cages." He took her frozen hands in his. "But we're not going to die. We're going to survive this because we're stronger than your father. Stronger than the weather. Stronger than anything that tries to stop us." Sarah May wanted to believe him, wanted to feel that certainty, but all she felt was cold and tired and scared. The next morning the mare couldn't stand. Cole knelt beside her, running his hands over her legs, her flanks. When he looked up, his eyes were wet. "She's done. Can't go any farther." Sarah May felt tears freeze on her cheeks. "What do we do?" "We take what we can carry, and we walk." He stood. "It's 3 days to the nearest settlement according to the last map I saw. Maybe 4 in this snow, but we can make it. On foot. In this weather. We don't have a choice." He started dividing their supplies into 2 packs, 1 for each of them. "We take food, water, blankets, weapons. Leave everything else." "Cole. I know it's hard. I know you're scared. But this is it, Sarah May. This is where we find out what we're really made of." He slung his pack on and helped her with hers. "You ready?" She looked at the dying horse, at their abandoned supplies, at the endless white landscape ahead. "No. But let's go anyway." They walked for 2 days straight, stopping only when their bodies literally couldn't move anymore. Sarah May's feet were numb inside her boots. Her face was raw from wind. She couldn't feel her fingers even when she tucked them under her arms. On the 3rd day she fell and couldn't get up. Cole tried to lift her. She was dead weight. "Come on, Sarah May, just a little farther." "I can't." "Yes, you can." "No." She looked up at him. "I'm done, Cole. I'm sorry, but I'm done." "Don't you dare." He was crying now, tears freezing on his face. "Don't you dare give up on me now. We're so close." "Close to what, freezing to death somewhere farther north?" She laughed a broken sound. "Maybe my father was right. Maybe I was never strong enough for this." Cole slapped her. Not hard, just enough to sting, enough to shock her out of her spiral. "Your father was wrong about everything, especially you." His voice was fierce. "You walked out of that church like you were walking through fire. You shot at bounty hunters. You learned to ride, to hunt, to survive in the wild. You married me knowing it would make everything harder." He pulled her to her feet. "You are the strongest person I've ever met, and you're not giving up now. I won't let you." "Cole." "No, you're going to stand up. You're going to put one foot in front of the other. And you're going to keep doing that until we find shelter or we both die trying. Because that's what Mavericks do. We survive." He cupped her face. "You're Sarah May Maverick now, and Mavericks don't quit." She stared at him. At this man who'd given up everything to give her freedom, who'd walked through hell beside her without complaint, who loved her enough to slap sense into her when she needed it. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, I'll try." "That's my girl." They walked for another 6 hours. Sarah May put one foot in front of the other like Cole had said, not thinking about the cold or the pain or how impossible it all was. Just moving, surviving, refusing to quit. When the cabin appeared through the snow, she thought she was hallucinating. "Cole, do you see?" "I see it." His voice was hoarse. "Come on. Almost there." They staggered to the door, and Cole pounded on it with frozen fists. No answer. He tried the latch unlocked. They fell inside, collapsing on the floor. The cabin was small, dusty, clearly abandoned. But it had walls, a roof, a stove with wood piled beside it. It was paradise. Cole got a fire started with shaking hands while Sarah May stripped off their frozen clothes. They huddled together under every blanket in the cabin, shivering so hard their teeth rattled. "We made it," Sarah May said. "Not yet. Still got to get to Montana proper. Find land, file a claim. But we made it this far. That's something." Cole pulled her closer. "Yeah, that's something." They stayed in the abandoned cabin for a week, recovering their strength. On the 8th day, an old trapper found them. His name was Jim, and he had a face like weathered leather and eyes that missed nothing. "You two lost?" he asked. "Trying to get to Montana," Cole said, "to file a homestead claim." Jim looked at them, their gaunt faces, their worn clothes, the desperation they couldn't quite hide. "Running from something?" "Yes," Sarah May said before Cole could lie. "My father. He wants to drag me back to a life I don't want. We're just trying to be free." Jim considered this. "Free's expensive, especially out here." "We know." "You got any money?" "Some." "Skills?" "I can work," Cole said. "Ranch mill whatever you've got. She can teach." "Don't need a teacher out here, but I could use help with my trap lines." Jim scratched his beard. "Tell you what, you work for me through winter. In spring I'll take you to a friend who's selling his homestead cheap. Good land, already got a cabin built near the border, remote enough your father won't find you." "Why would you help us?" Sarah May asked. "Because I was young once, and I ran from something too." Jim smiled, his weathered face transforming. "Everybody's running from something out here. Question is what you're running toward. You two seem to be running toward each other. That's rare enough to be worth helping." They worked Jim's trap lines through the brutal winter. It was hard, dangerous work, checking traps in sub-zero temperatures, skinning animals with frozen fingers, hauling pelts through snow that sometimes came up to their waists. But it was honest work, and Jim was fair, and slowly, Sarah May and Cole built up enough money to buy the homestead he'd promised. Spring came late that year. When the snow finally melted, Jim led them north to his friend's land. It was beautiful in a harsh way, mountains rising behind a small valley, a creek running through it, trees everywhere. The cabin was small but sturdy, with a good roof and a working stove. "This is it," Jim said. 160 acres. Yours if you want it." Sarah May looked at Cole. Cole looked at her. They both smiled. "We want it," they said together. The paperwork was filed in the nearest town, a 3-day ride south. Sarah May Maverick became a legal landowner, her name on official documents, her claim registered and recognized. No one questioned her. No one asked where she came from or why. She was just another homesteader trying to make a life. That first summer they worked from dawn to dark. Cole cleared land for planting. Sarah May started a garden, learning from trial and error what would grow in the short Montana growing season. They built a chicken coop, a small barn, fences to keep out predators. By fall, they had their first harvest. It wasn't much enough vegetables to get them through winter, some grain for bread, but it was theirs, grown by their hands on their land. On their first anniversary, they sat on the porch watching the sun set over the mountains. Sarah May rested her hand on her growing belly, a baby due in spring, conceived in winter's darkness, and growing toward summer's light. "You ever think about him?" Cole asked. "Your father?" "Sometimes." Sarah May was quiet for a moment. "I wonder if he thinks about me. If he regrets how he treated me. If he ever realized that love doesn't look like control. You think he'll ever find us? Maybe. Probably. She turned to look at Cole. But even if he does, he can't take this away. This land is ours legally. This baby is ours. This life is ours. He can show up with all the money and warrants in the world, and it won't change the fact that I chose this. I chose you, and I'd choose it again every single day. Cole took her hand. I love you, Sarah May Maverick. I love you too. They sat in comfortable silence watching stars emerge one by one. The compass sat on the mantel inside no longer needed. Sarah May had found her direction. It was right here in this valley with this man building this life one choice at a time. Years passed. The baby, a daughter they named Grace, was born healthy and strong. 2 more children followed, a son named James, another daughter named Elizabeth. The homestead grew. They added rooms to the cabin, expanded the barn, cleared more land. Neighbors arrived homesteading the surrounding territory, and suddenly they were part of a community. Sarah May taught her children to read using the Bible and whatever books they could acquire. Cole taught them to ride, to shoot, to work the land. But more importantly, they taught them to choose, to question, to stand up for themselves and each other. Why did you leave your home, Mama? Grace asked one day when she was 10. Sarah May looked at her daughter, confident, curious, free in ways Sarah May had never been allowed to be. Because I wanted to be able to choose my own life, and because sometimes the people who are supposed to love you don't know how. She pulled Grace onto her lap. But I got lucky. I found someone who did know how to love, and we built something better. Do you ever miss your father? I miss the father I wish I'd had, but the father I actually had, no. I don't miss him. That's sad. It is, but it's also honest, and honesty's important. Sarah May kissed her daughter's head. You remember that, Grace. Always be honest, especially with yourself. 10 years after they'd arrived in Montana, a stranger rode up to the homestead. He was old, weathered, riding a good horse, and wearing clothes that spoke of money. Sarah May was in the garden when she saw him. Her heart stopped. For one terrible moment, she thought it was her father. But it wasn't. It was Sheriff Tucker from Redemption Creek, looking 20 years older, and carrying himself like a man with a burden. Mrs. Maverick, he said, dismounting carefully. That's me. Sarah May's voice was steady, even though her heart was racing. What do you want, Sheriff? To deliver news, and an apology. He removed his hat. Your father passed 6 months ago. Heart gave out. He left instructions that if you were ever found, you should be told. Sarah May felt nothing. Not grief, not relief, just a strange emptiness. I see. There's more. In his will, he left you a letter. Tucker pulled an envelope from his coat. Asked that it be delivered personally if possible. He stopped, looked at her. I owe you an apology, Mrs. Maverick, for what we put you through, for not standing up to your father when I should have. I was a coward, and I'm sorry. Sarah May took the letter. Thank you for bringing this. One more thing. The bounty's been lifted. Has been since he died. You and your husband are free. No warrants, no charges, nothing. You can go anywhere you want now. We're already where we want to be, Sarah May said. But thank you for letting us know. After Tucker left, Sarah May sat on the porch holding the letter. Cole found her there an hour later. What's that? Letter from my father. He died. She looked up at Cole. We're free. Really free. Cole sat beside her. You going to read it? I don't know. Part of me wants to. Part of me doesn't care what he has to say. Then don't read it. Or read it later, or burn it. Your choice. Sarah May smiled. Your choice. Those 2 words that had changed her entire life. She opened the letter. It was short, written in her father's shaking hand. Sarah May. I don't expect forgiveness. Don't deserve it. But I want you to know I was wrong. About everything. About what love means. About what faith requires. About you. You were never the problem. I was. My fear, my need for control, my inability to see you as a person instead of a possession. By the time I realized this, it was too late. You were gone. And you should have been gone years earlier. I hope you found freedom. I hope you found love. I hope you forgive me someday, but I'll understand if you don't. Your father, Josiah Thornton. Sarah May read it twice. Then she handed it to Cole. Well, he said after reading. That's something. It's too late, Sarah May said. But it's something. You going to forgive him? Sarah May thought about it. About the little girl who'd lived in fear. About the young woman who'd walked out of that church. About the person she'd become in the years since. Maybe someday, she said finally. But not today. Today, I'm just going to be grateful I got out. That I found you. That we built this. She gestured at the homestead, the cabin, the barn, the fields, the children playing near the creek. That's enough. Cole pulled her close. More than enough. That evening, the whole family gathered on the porch. Grace was 15 now. James 13, Elizabeth 10. They were strong, healthy, happy children who knew they were loved not because they were obedient, but because they existed. Tell us the story, Grace said, about how you and Papa met. Sarah May smiled. She'd told this story 100 times, but it never got old. Once upon a time, there was a girl in a cage she couldn't see. And one day, a stranger walked into her father's church. And changed everything, Elizabeth finished. We know this part, Mama. Then why ask me to tell it? Because we like hearing it, James grinned. The part where Papa stands up to Grandfather. And when you walk out of the church. That's the best part. My favorite part is the ocean, Grace said. When you finally got to see it after running for so long. Mine's the winter in the mountains, Cole said quietly. When your mother refused to give up, even when I thought we were done for. That's when I knew we'd make it. Sarah May looked at her family, this loud, messy, beautiful family she'd built from nothing but courage and choice and love. Then she looked out at the valley stretching before them, painted gold by the setting sun. The best part, she said, is right now. This moment. All of us together on land we own in a life we chose free to be exactly who we are. Cole's arm came around her shoulders. Amen to that. As the sun dipped below the mountains and stars began their ancient dance across the sky, Sarah May thought about the compass still sitting on the mantel inside. She'd given it to Grace last year, passing down the promise it represented. Not all who wander are lost. Some who wander find exactly what they're looking for. She'd been looking for freedom, but she'd found so much more. She'd found her voice, her strength, her purpose. And in a man who'd ridden into her father's church like salvation on horseback, she'd found a partner who saw her as she really was, and loved her, not despite it, but because of it. The years would keep rolling by. Children would grow up and move on. She and Cole would grow old together, working this land until their bodies gave out. Someday, they'd be buried here under the big pine tree, where they'd been married a second time properly by a traveling preacher with their children as witnesses. But tonight, they were young enough to dream, and old enough to know that dreams could come true if you were brave enough to chase them. They were free, they were loved, they were home, and that was everything. Sarah May Maverick had walked out of her father's church 20 years ago, carrying nothing but fear and a stranger's compass. She'd walked through fire and ice and darkness to get here. She'd been tested and tempered and transformed, and she'd do it all again without hesitation. Because the girl who'd knelt in prayer, hoping for deliverance, had become a woman who knew that sometimes you had to save yourself, and sometimes, if you were lucky, you found someone willing to walk beside you while you did. Cole squeezed her hand. She squeezed back. No words were needed. They already knew.